After Fashion Reimagined, I learned so much on my journey, and there was things that I thought I knew that it turns out I didn't really know. And the more and more I got down the journey, and the more I sort of learned about supply chains, the more I connected back to the product, and the more I treasured my fabric and my cloth and what we do. And for me, that's changed the entire way I design. I was already using TENCEL a lot in our products, and for me, seeing is believing. That's the most important thing to do when you see it for yourself, And so I wanted to come here to obviously I've understood it, I've researched it a lot, but when you come, you can really connect and see what Lenzing are working on. So I wanted to come and see stage by stage, but I also wanted to come to see if they felt the way I do, which is let's get to this point, which is the best that we can, but what's next, and are they really committed and passionate to continuing to change and evolve the way that we need to do?
For example, we are here in what it's called a mixed forest.
Yeah.
This is called beech. This is kind of the main species we use.
Yeah.
What you need in a forest, first you make a plan.
Yeah.
So it's important that it's like a forest management plan.
Yeah.
And this depends on the characteristic each forest has, because a forest has many stands, like soil characteristic or for the topography that you should take into account, because depending on the soil that you have, the trees can grow in different ways, or depending on the weather and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think connecting back to nature is, if you look at a tree, you don't think about your dress, and I think that's the disparity in what was happening since the Industrial Revolution, and in fashion specifically. People just aren't connecting. They connect fashion to glossy marketing campaigns and posters and celebrities, and actually nowhere near this. And I guess that's my mission, is to try and
spread the word.
Let's go and hug a tree. So we're at the woodyard, and we've just been in the forest. This, I guess, is where everything comes. Are they from the forest, local forests, or do they come sort of far and wide?
Well, actually, it's around 50% of the wood that is stored here comes from Austria.
Okay.
But not like nearby forest, but from whole Austria.
Yeah.
And the other 50% comes from another, I think, 9-10 countries around Austria, like Germany, France, until Poland.
Yeah.
It's our, I will say, farther supplier.
And is it is it brought in on, I guess, the trucks bring them in?
It's a mixture.
Yeah.
We can say 50% is brought by trucks.
Yeah.
And 50% by train.
Yeah.
And the company, all with the CO2 strategy, is trying to increase the amount which is being delivered by train, because it's cheaper, and it will be reducing CO2 emissions.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, this is wood that can be bought by per train.
Yeah.
So they come from these rails, and with this machine, then it's transported. So, and then the process goes on that you're going to see in the production.
Yeah, I would really love to know a little bit more about the process. So I've sort of understood the forestry a bit, and then obviously get to the chip part. But can you talk me through, once kind of the wood is chipped, how we get to the fabric? That's a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question. There are a lot of steps in between, but I try to keep it simple. So basically, I always say it's so first you produce pulp. So you take the wood chips and you basically put them in a large cooker, like a pressure cooker with chemicals, and you take out the cellulose part. Yeah. And that one then is also dried into sheets. Yeah. It looks like big sheets of paper, and that's the raw material for the fiber production. You take them and you dissolve them in an organic solvent directly. So you it's like dissolving sugar in tea or something like that. And then basically it goes through the spinning, where I like to work with this, make it a bit more simple. So it's like a big shower head where the fibers come out. You spin them into water. Yeah. You wash them, you cut them, you dry them, and then you have a bale, and the bale goes into yarn spinning, and then whether it's weaving or knitting, and into a fabric. Yeah.
So for each tree you cut down, you replace with a new one.
Yeah. So this is a very important point you mentioned, and it's all about how you manage and how you secure responsible sourcing of wood and pulp. Because we have a very strict and very strong wood and pulp policy. Where we write it clearly down what is allowed, what not. And we don't source from any critical areas. We want to provide sustainable solutions, truly sustainable solutions in the long term, which provide benefits to the society, to the environment, and to all our customers and consumers, of course.
The concept of all of our industry, I mean, so you have the forestry, so you're cutting a tree, but you're planting it back, so that's obviously circular. The way you produce something, you're processing something, but you're obviously making sure that all the runoff and the production you're reusing. So you're already circular in your approach there. I guess the missing kind of element, which is when we make the garments and we sell them, how we can get it back and then recycle them. And that will sort of close the entire loop and bring it back. And that's what we really need for the future if we're going to do this even better than we're already doing.
A big contribution also to the coming circular economy approach.
Following supply chains has become something that I do a lot now. It was the subject of Fashion Reimagined, the film, which follows me and Mother of Pearl through the journey. And, you know, it's really great to sort of understand certifications and understand kind of how supply chains work from afar, but actually there's just nothing better than seeing it with your own eyes. And it's so important for me to do that because it gives me so much more trust, but more than anything, it just gives me so much more respect. And every time I come back and connect to these people that, you know, in this instance, I'm kind of making the fibre, and before that the forest, and then obviously the spinners and weavers, like the amount of hands that touch the product, the amount of processing involved, the taking of natural resources to turn it into the product. Quite frankly, when I really think about it, I just don't understand how we do it for the price that we do. Through all this processing, through spinners, through weavers, through my hands and the manufacturers that touch our clothes and our design team, for me it's remarkable that we're even getting clothes out there at these prices, but also that people don't see them and connect them back to nature. And I feel like that's become my job and my duty to kind of try and connect this and get people to see this, which is really important for me to be here and making this. Because in a way, when you look at your clothes, now I want you to see the tree, you know? I want you to connect it back to where it comes from and have respect, so much more respect for garments. I have so much more respect for my cloth, and then I design it into a garment for, you know, for whoever that might be. And I just want those people now to just feel the same connection and respect, so that we can all just buy better and buy less. And so, yeah, it's really important for me to be here to see these things and to relay that back, you know, and spread the message and share the love. Yeah.